Hi, welcome to the first OSE 3D Printer Workbench product owner demo. The purpose of this video is to get some early feedback and make sure the development of the project is on the right track. If you haven't already done so, you'll need to first install the Workbench by navigating to the GitHub Repository and cloning it within the FreeCAD mod or module directory, just like you would any other FreeCAD Workbench. Once installed, you can then open up FreeCAD and then select the OSE 3D Printer Workbench from the drop-down. Notice we have a few different buttons available to us. For the purposes of this demo, I'll be focusing on the frame and universal axes functionality. So we have a button to add the frame, add a universal axis parallel to the x-axis, one parallel to the y, and then one parallel to the z-axis. I'll start by adding a universal axis in the x orientation. We'll notice that it created it starting from the origin, which is this bottom left point I have selected here. Similarly, I can do a y or a z. Where it gets interesting is when you start to build out a D3D Pro 3D printer. So I'll start by adding a frame. And let's say I wanted to attach an x-axis to the top face of the frame. If I simply click the button to add the x-axis, we'll notice that it sticks it in the default position. If I wanted to then attach the x-axis to the top face, I would need to first select that face and then click the button. We'll notice that it properly resized the axis to the size or dimension of the frame and position it in the middle for us. Similarly, I could select the front face and add a y-axis, a z-axis, or the left face and add a y-axis. And like so, we can build out the standard D3D Pro configuration really easily. A potential point of confusion here is if you don't constantly keep in mind what orientation the frame is in and which orientation of the axis you're clicking. For example, let's say that we have the top face of the frame selected and we click the button to add a y-axis. Now that doesn't make sense, so the axis is created in the default position. You'll notice that we also logged to the report view why we weren't able to attach the axis to the frame. There's two potential options we could do to help mitigate this confusion. One is that it's easy to get the three buttons for the axes orientations mixed up since they look similarly. Adding a colored X, Y, or Z to each icon, like a blue or red maybe, I think would help mitigate this. Also, let's say we have the top face selected and only the x-axis makes sense to attach. We could then disable the y and z-axis buttons. So yeah, those are potential points of confusion. There are other things like, if we select this little sliver here, obviously that doesn't make sense to attach an axis to, so it'll get stuck in the default position. Similarly, if you select like an interface, that doesn't make sense, or like a vertex or an edge. So yeah, potential, user experience issues with this, so play around with it, let me know your thoughts, let me know your feedback, and that would be great. Thank you so much.